Hi, this is Dee Wallace from E.T. and Cujo, and you're listening to Without Your Head.
Welcome to the station of decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neil.
This is Annabelle Lecter.
And we're joined by actor, director, former model, writer, internet host, and good friend of ours, Nicholas Vince.
See, now I'm giggling at the fact that you introduced me as a former model.
As opposed to a current model.
Well, he's still a current model. Maybe he is. We don't know.
No, I've not done it. I mean, this is from the days when I used to model for for Clive to begin with, when he was painting, but also comic book artists like John Bolton and Dave McKean. Modeled for Dave McKean for his book Cages. Many years ago, but still a wonderfully inspirational book. But yes, so former model.
Mm-hmm. Wow, you must have been super fit. You've got all these people wanting to draw you. This doesn't happen to everybody.
No, well, that's true. I don't know if I was super fit. That's a nice idea.
We'll just go with it. You were.
Yeah. Let's say cheap and available is the other option.
That's Neil.
Yeah, I'm not going there.
I don't think I've ever given Nicholas a guys and fries photo of me. Now we have another reason to meet him again. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait until you see this.
Sorry, this is a what photo?
Guys and fries. It was. My idea was it was going to be burly men and French fries, and I had people that were going to model. We were going to put out a calendar. It never got made, sadly. But
Nicholas, if it does ever happen, would you want to be a guy? So what it developed into is people from it was a lot of people from conventions, because it was this silly thing that you would get a month and then some kind of potato. So for Neil, it was fries, and someone was going to have mashed potatoes and chips and all these different things. So
that sounds fun. That sounds. He says doubtfully.
That's such a catchy title, Guys and Fries.
Guys, I'm sure there are websites that one probably shouldn't Google.
It'll just be Neil. Neil has made his own website. Oh, you gotta see the picture. It's worse than you're thinking it could be. Honestly.
No, it's not. It's
actually naked. You don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. Sid Haig has an autograph photo of it. He's very proud of it, I'm sure.
Didn't more than one person showing you down? I think Keith David said no.
No, Keith David told me to come over to the table, and he actually took a picture with me with the photo because he thought it was hilarious. But other people did. I just asked, do you want to sign? And they just looked at me and were like, no. That one was at a convention because I was robbed, and so my someone stole my camera and all my audio equipment, so I couldn't do interviews. So what else to do but go around and give people autograph photos of myself?
Go around and embarrass yourself.
Oh no!
It was fun times.
Oh, that was terrible. Yeah.
But Nicholas isn't here to talk about French fries. He's got the Kickstarter. He's got he's got one Kickstarter with two shorts on there. He can explain a lot better than me.
2 shorts. Sorry, suddenly you just said 2 shorts on here. Immediately I've got Bart Simpson saying, "Eat my shorts." It's bringing to mind this because this is the level of exhaustion that I'm working at the moment. Yeah, I had the most amazing day yesterday. So basically, I kind of like, long story short, put the Kickstarter up. And, a friend had said, okay, we'll keep it short. Don't worry about doing it for a month. Do it for about a couple of weeks. That will be plenty of time to get stuff in, reach your target. It's a modest target and very doable. Okay, fine. That's good. And planning all these things. And basically, long story short, 5 hours and 55 minutes later, it was funded. It's like, what?
I saw you made it. I was like, wow, that's awesome. How many days are left? There's a lot.
It's 15. It's 15. So, of course, I mean, to be honest, I knew, I was pretty confident that I'd get the money because I was offering something from my personal collection, which was a pinhead figure, which is a Screaming model. I don't know if you remember these. Back in the 1990s, they did. They were two-part models. Basically, you got an upper and lower part, and you shove them together. And I think the reason they were in two parts was so that you could put sand or plaster of Paris in the lower part to make sure that it stood properly once you made it and painted it. So I was. I was given this model back in the 1990s, when they came out. The way I got it was at like 6 o'clock in the morning in my old flat, and just actually, I think it was 5:30 in the morning. It was still dark, and this guy was like, right, this is for you. You owe £30 custom and excise duty. And I was like,
and you didn't even know what it was.
No, I kind of like, what the hell is? And then I saw the name Screaming, and I thought, I mean, we're talking about the days long before the internet. So nobody would have emailed me or anything to let me know. So I kind of was aware that they existed, and somebody must have got a message to me to say that they wanted to send me it. But I got this thing, and I was kind of like, oh, okay, fine. Anyways, I had that painted up, and then about 15 years ago, I managed to get Ken Cranham, Doug Bradley, Barbie Wilde, and Simon Bamford's signatures on it. So it's a completely unique piece, and it's beautifully painted by a young man who I commissioned to paint it up for me. So so I knew I had some really special things there, but I really didn't expect to do it in 6 hours. Under 6 hours, and if I was just checking it before we came on the show, just to see exactly where I'm up to. I can give you the live figure even as we speak if I do some things. So you asked me another question whilst I do go and realise that I don't really want to log in.
Well, I was wondering what does that mean when you go above, what you initially wanted? Does that mean now, you could do more with the project?
Yeah, yes. And sorry, the answer that the original question is we're now at 171%, with 15 days to go. So it was only going to be a 16-day campaign. Yeah, I think that's the thing. I mean, basically, the thing with Kickstarter is it's an all or nothing thing. I knew I was going to need an awful lot more than some, which is 1,500, which I put on as my target. I knew I was going to need more than that. So, I was kind of in my mind, I was kind of aiming for more than this to really cover the cost, because we're filming, I live in London, we're filming in Ireland. So basically I was talking to my co-producers, the guys from Celtic Badger Media. I want to make sure the money goes into the film. Well, there's two things it needs to go into, basically. Going into the film itself, making sure that people are really well looked after, because I'm not able to pay them, and even if we did quite a lot better, I wouldn't be able to give them a proper rate. But now I can give really decent expenses, possibly a per diem or something like that. But I want to make sure they see the benefit of it as well, because they're wonderful and talented, and I want to respect them.
That's very nice of you.
Well, no, I guess, but I think
there are other people who don't. I will just put it out there.
Yeah, no, and I'm not one of those people, and I've dealt with that kind of person before. And it's like, I really don't want to go down that route. The other thing, to be honest, it's going to go on is festival submissions fees. To put it in perspective, The Night Whispered, my first short film, I submitted it to 17 festivals, and that cost me $434.
Wow.
Yeah. It's an expensive business. It really is an expensive business to do these things, and that was after I paid for expenses and so on. So that's the other thing, that basically the more money we get, the more festivals I can submit to. And submitting to festivals is really a numbers game, the more festivals you submit to, and I've had friends who've literally submitted to 100 festivals.
Wow.
People who've got regular incomes, unlike me. It really, this independent filmmaking business, it's an expensive business. So that's kind of where So I'm literally just been running around today to sort out some more awards and stretch goals, so I can thank people who've supported which basically mean, the idea of a stretch goal is, okay, so if we get another £250, then I'll make sure that everybody who's already contributed, I think apart from the thank you, the guys who just come in at £1, but everything above that, £5 and upwards, they will get something extra over and above what they'd originally were promised. And something, I think it's probably going to be a documentary on the making of Nightbreed. It's going to be one of them. Because I've got stories to tell about that.
That sounds good. Neil and I both always like that part. Well, I mean, it's kind of, I guess it goes hand in hand with wanting to interview with people on the show, is that there's a lot of interesting stuff that goes on other than just watching the story.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose this is why, and we've got used to seeing it, I guess, these days, because now you wouldn't buy a Blu-ray without expecting to get some extras.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's quite a fascinating. You get to see so much more of the filmmaking process now. I mean, in the days, I don't remember. Did we ever get VHS extras on tape?
It was extremely rare. There was a couple times where it would be after the credits, but it was very, very rare that there was anything.
Well, I tell you what. I know it was really rare, and one of the reasons I know it was very rare, he says, desperately looking around his room to see if I can lay my hands on it. No, it's out of reach. Okay, very quick story. Okay, we made Hellraiser 31 years ago, so we're talking 1986. I came across some letters between my then agent and Christopher Figg, the producer of Hellraiser, and Equity, the actors' union in the UK, discussing whether or not I should be paid for any contribution I made to any behind-the-scenes video that was shot. And I think they did actually refer to it as an EPK electronic press kit in those days. But what they meant was they were going to shoot a small featurette, and so that they could give it to TV stations. And of course, we're still talking 1986 here. So I think that really, when we were doing that kind of thing, we weren't really thinking about that, and it was a completely new idea. My agent had never heard of it. Equity were really not sure about it. They were not sure about whether or not I should be paid or not, and this was obviously a very new thing to them. This idea of having, as it turned out, I'd never got interviewed anyway. I wasn't. No one was going to interview me. They had Andrew Robinson and Claire Higgins and Ashley Lawrence to interview, and I mean, those things have come online since. Seraphim put the featurette that was made. They would put those online. But but I think now, so I was just thinking about it this evening. I think I like the idea of just wandering out in the in the places where we filmed. Hopefully with somebody else who I haven't yet to invite, so I won't say who it is, to do it. And also, of course, I've got the original footage where you've got me talking about, and you can hear the sounds going. Okay, we'll just wait for the fireworks. Okay, we're just going to wait for the plane. Yeah. And so it's good. So that's probably what it's going to go into. It'll be, so it's trying to work out what I can do to thank everybody who's, it's 45 people so far, who've supported it, which I just find extraordinary. To and then we go off and we make a film.
Mm-hmm. Now, are you going to film both of them like back to back?
Yes, literally, and we're going to cross cast as well. I've got 2 actors who are going to appear in both of them, because basically the way this came about was that I was already planning to shoot a short film called Your Appraisal, and then and I had already discussed it with a guy called Dawson James, who I work with closely. Dawson is in The Night Whispered, and supported me tremendously on that. He's a great sounding board partner, creative partner. So that was the plan, and I was already setting that. Then this opportunity came along to be involved in the Hex Media production anthology movie called For We Are Many, which do you know? Have you guys heard of Laurie Brewster?
The name sounds very familiar.
I don't know.
Right. Okay. Get him on the show. He's wonderful. But Laurie is a British. He's a Scottish. He is British, but definitely is a Scottish filmmaker as well. He came to prominence over here with a film called Lord of Tears, which got a lot of funny enough funding through Kickstarter, and I think either Lord of Tears or the second film, Unkindness of Ravens, one of them was the most successful British horror film funding on Kickstarter. Did extraordinarily well. So basically, Laurie works in is very interested in occult and I'm thinking of the land of fairy. That's not folk tales, and so on. Very mystical. And his most recent film, The Unkindness of Ravens, is basically following the story of a British soldier, again Scottish soldier, who's come back from Afghanistan or something, is obviously suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder and has become obsessed with ravens. And it's this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful film that I saw last year at Fright Fest, a film festival over here in London. And so basically Laurie's putting this together. So if you have go and see Unkindness of Ravens.
Yeah, that's why the name is familiar, because I remember actually you telling us about that in Rhode Island.
Yes, yeah. So I mean, okay.
I just wrote it down.
So yeah, I think I really wanted to work with Laurie. So when this opportunity came out, and it just so the idea is to answer the original question, that basically, so we'll shoot Your Appraisal, which is a 2-hander. And then both Dawson and another actor, hopefully I'm just waiting for the confirmation of this, will then appear in the second movie, Necessary Evils.
Mm-hmm. But without giving too much away, since they're shorts, can you give us an idea of what each one's about? And even if you film it at the same time, they're totally different.
Oh yeah, completely and utterly. And I think basically the Your Appraisal is literally a 2-hander, because having done The Night Whispered, which was a crew of 18 at night, as it turned out the coldest night of the year, with a dog, I just thought my next movie is going to be so much more simple. I'm just going to, I've learned all I can from that experience. I now just want to do something really small, short, and intense. With a twist, and basically it's called Your Appraisal, and it's about a psycho boss and his employee and his appraisal, and then things get nasty with office stationery.
So I think now we don't use the same terminology. So I'm thinking that for Americans that would be like your review at work.
Yes. Oh, that's really interesting. That's something I hadn't even considered. So that's your review your review meeting, or your?
I think just your review.
Just your review.
Depends on what kind of job you have, but if it's a professional or close to professional, it's usually a review.
Review or annual review or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I suppose we could retitle it in America. It's been done before now. Your review. But I certainly in the company that I worked for a long time, it was known as Your Appraisal. And I just remember these.
Yeah.
Sorry, say again, Annabelle?
It's bad enough to have a review, but Your Appraisal sounds much more intimidating to me.
It does, doesn't it? And I just remember these long and to be, I was never really confident about what it was I was doing when I was working in an office anyway. I worked really, really hard. I remember I worked very, very long years, and I had some successes whilst I was there. They kept me around for 16 years. I wasn't that bad at my job. But there was always, they always found your weakness. There's always something you're going to There is always something you're going to fall short on. Nobody is ever going to get perfect scores along the top, because what would be the point as far as, what you're going to do? Mm-hmm. You've got the fail, so it's, and I just found the whole process horrible. Really, really.
It
really,
is,
really.
Because they'll go out of their way to find something instead of saying, you're doing a great job, here's your raise.
Yeah.
Or we're going to leave you alone. Just,
yeah.
Not that people don't have room to improve on things, but,
and I think it's just never pleasant. And I think it's probably not terribly, I didn't, because I was both a manager and being managed, so I kind of in the middle. Mm-hmm. So I had to do both, and so on. And it's just never a good situation as far as I'm concerned. It's always, but hey, it's life, and I completely understand why businesses have to do these things, because you can't just go in and people have got to perform, otherwise nobody gets paid at the end of the day because you go bankrupt. So important. I understand, but
it's gonna be something that most people can relate to.
Yeah, and I think that's what that's what I thought about. It's definitely something that it's. The words "your appraisal" strike fear into the heart of many people, I think. In America, your review. Thank you for that, Annabelle. I should remember.
Oh, you're welcome.
I'm talking to Americans. Okay, we call it Your Appraisal, Your Review. And then the other film is based, I think you may have gathered, the anthology titled For We Are Many. I'll give you one guess as to what the theme is.
Whoa.
Oh, do you not know this biblical quote? You probably do know.
Isn't it from Legion?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So it's the man... I can't remember the name of the character in the Bible. So basically, Christ said, what is your name? Before he sends the demons in, because he answers, my name is Legion. For we are many, and then he banishes the demon. The demon goes and inhabits a nearby. What is it? What's a collective group?
Is that the pigs?
Yeah, it's the pigs, isn't it? What's the collective noun?
I just learned about that. I don't know what you call a group of pigs.
Is it a herd?
Pigs. A herd of pigs.
It's a herd of pigs. Somebody listening to this will probably know. A herd of pigs, a gathering of pigs.
It sounds way too classy for pigs.
Gathering swine. It kind of comes back to the unkindness of ravens. That's the group noun for a group of ravens, is an unkindness of ravens. So anyway, so for We Are Many, it's about demons, basically. So this and what can I tell you? So basically, it's a military thing, and I think the tagline is the soldier learns that the army really does own him, body and soul, and it's kind of a story of our times, and it's only going to be about 4.5 minutes long, so I can't really say much more about it.
Would it spoil anything to ask if it was a modern setting or something historical?
No, it's definitely a modern setting. And it's kind of now. Have you guys heard of the Stanford experiment?
Yes, there's a great film that came out a couple of years ago.
Oh,
I don't know if you saw it.
I haven't.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
It's great. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's basically that idea of what people will do, but also how people just need permission to be thoroughly nasty, but also, the way that people are controlled. I mean, the other thing I was thinking about is one of the things that always fascinated me is the history of the Second World War, because I happen to have been born in Germany. My father was in the Royal Air Force, so I happen to have been born in Germany. When I say happen to be there, I was there for 3 months before my parents brought me over here. But I've always kind of been interested in how an entire nation got caught up in the propaganda and the teachings of the Nazi Party, etc. It's explored in Lord of the Flies. Civilization is skin deep. It doesn't take much to scratch to reveal the bloody beating mess that's beneath it, and really, reveal that. So I think those things. What I'm trying to do, touching on those elements, those are the influences behind the story. I'm really looking forward to filming it. In fact, I'm really looking forward to filming both of them. Because we're filming in Ireland. Because the reason for filming in Ireland is because
you want to go to Ireland.
I want to go to Ireland, but also I want to go to Ireland. Who wouldn't want to go to Ireland? I went there for the first time to make a film with a filmmaker called Paddy Murphy, which is a very good Irish name.
Very Irish.
Very Irish. You can't get more Irish than Paddy Murphy as a name. He did a short film called Retribution, where I was playing a Catholic priest. And I just loved working with those guys. They're really it's a group called Celtic Badger Media, and they regularly get together. They've got a YouTube channel and so on. And they've just finished filming their first feature film. They've done an awful lot of short films. They've done web series, etc. And I just found I got on with them incredibly well. And it just came about that basically the opportunity, okay, because I mean, as a filmmaker, this is, you sit in the room, you write a script. That's great. Okay, what can I do now? You can't. It's very hard to make films by yourself. Animators can do it. Claymation guys can do it, I guess. Literally just sit by yourself with a camera and taking a picture. 24 pictures for every second of footage. But otherwise, you're going to have to work with other people. So finding people that you want to work with and work with them again is incredibly fun. I mean, you just have to look at the history of Clive Barker. He'd obviously got the dog company beforehand, and I joined them for the Hellraiser. Clive had a lot of the same people in all those 3 films. And it's not just us. It was the crew, it was the sound guys, it was the film, the director of photography, Robin Vision, etc. A lot of they worked on all 3 of Clive's films in the UK, Hellraiser, Hellbound, and Nightbreed. So that's incredibly important, and finding people you really want to spend time with during a process which is always terribly stressful in that things are inevitably going to go wrong. You never have enough money, you never have enough light, something's missing, something's good, it's a tough thing. Having said that, why would you do this unless you enjoyed it?
So what's the bigger anthology? Like, who else was involved?
Off the top of my head, Katie Bonham, who I worked with on her short film Mindless, which has done incredibly well. Great. Yeah, thank you.
I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm immediately laughing now because Mike Shawcross, the behind-the-scenes photographer of that one, put up the famous photograph of me having fallen asleep on set. So all you can see is the top of my bald head, where Katie and Mike Shabas and Guy are putting thumbs up to show the fact that I'm asleep on set. That's how hard I worked on that film.
There's nothing wrong with a good nap.
Yeah, no, but also in that film, I'm sitting down in a chair all the time. So if you put me in a chair for long periods, and it was hot. It was warm whilst you're filming. So I believe Kate is involved. Liam, who made Banjo,
Yep.
I believe is involved as well. I don't have everyone's names in front of me, so I'm just reading off the top of my. I think Alex Horan, who's also a producer, has got a short in there as well. So, as Laurie says, I mean, one of the reasons he wants to do that is, he wants to work with really good people. Obviously, he wants really good product, but he also wants to encourage people. He sees it as a way of encouraging people to make sure, because the life of a short film is that, I mentioned how much it costs to get into film festivals. Okay, well, the real joy of getting into a film festival, as you guys know, is basically going and talking to other filmmakers, and meeting people who've watched your movies and watching your movie with an audience, which is kind of not a thing that you get through YouTube. Actually sitting in a room with a live audience is extraordinary, watching your work on stage, and very different from when you're doing theatre as well. So what Laurie was saying is that he wants to give the young filmmakers or new filmmakers the chance to be involved, part of a feature film on their IMDb credit. So I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what everyone comes up with.
Mm-hmm. Was each person given any guidelines, to fit into this, or how did it all come about?
Literally, what I got was the theme is demons. Mm-hmm. That was it. A running time of around about 4.5 minutes, and a delivery date, and some other, the other things you might expect in that kind of agreement. But that was it. So and it was very. I think it's going to be interesting. And obviously, what they asked for was submissions. What they asked for was proposals, from people, to see, just what they were going to come up with. So,
I like the idea.
But I think obviously you're going to get an awful lot of possession tales. So it's finding a new twist on possession, which is what I'm hoping I've come up with for Necessary Evils, because it's one of the things I always find fascinating when we were at drama school. It really shows how different we all are. The theme is demons. Okay. Now you think, oh God, you can't sustain it because they're all going to be the same. They're all, it's fairly obvious what they're all going to be about. But I don't think that's true. I remember when we were at drama school, as a group, as a class, we were split into like a dozen pairs, male and female, and we were given the same 3 pages of a script and told to go away, rehearse it. And it was a Neil Simon, I can't remember the name of the film, but basically it was almost like 12 different plays, and that was with exactly the same script and exactly the same words. So I think, just by giving filmmakers this one theme, you're going to come up, because it all means so many different things to us. Mm-hmm. I'm really excited. I think the aim is that they want to do it as a feature film, and then the feature film will go on the festival run. I believe that that's what's going on. But there's a Facebook page. You can find out more about it there, and I think there's quite a lot of coverage on the usual horror website the last couple of weeks ago. So there's plenty of, if people are interested, just look for We Are Demons. For We Are Many, what? Sorry, For We Are Many. That's a cool idea. Yeah, I like the idea of demons having a podcast.
Having a what?
Demons having a podcast. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I like the idea of a podcast from hell, in hell. Demons complaining and talking.
They could interview the people that go to hell. That would be the coolest.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I like this idea.
I can't remember. I've seen it. It was an idea I'd had years ago. But I mean, the other idea is I love the idea of a demon having a review meeting as well. It's like you've just not tortured people enough. People are complaining. They don't feel you're just not giving good demon satisfaction. You're not prodding enough.
Too many smiles around here.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, have you guys ever come across a BBC radio series called Old Harry's Game?
No.
Oh, seek it out. Seek out, if you can, a radio program called, it's a comedy program. It's a British cast. You wouldn't know their name. I don't know. I doubt if you'd know the names. But basically, one of the reasons I first heard it and suddenly took notice was because it uses the theme to Hellraiser as the theme for the show. And you get snippets of the theme to Hellraiser from it. But basically, it's set in hell. Old Harry is another name for the devil. And it's just brilliant because it's a critique and it's a satire on modern society and views of religion and so on. Old Harry's Game. I just go back and listen. I must have listened to all the series at least 2 or 3 times, and I go back and listen to them every so often. Just when when I think the world is insane, just go and listen to Old Harry's Game, and you realise just how bad it is.
It's just on a constant stream in your home.
Yeah. When we drive, we used to listen to them in the car. Craig and I used to listen to when we were driving up to Scotland, things like that. We'd put on a CD of Old Harry's Game and listen to because in the first series, I love the idea is that basically you're in hell. You've got the demon. You've got the most invidious, obviously most appalling human being on the planet has just died. He's gone to hell. At the same time, the professor who he was in a car crash with also ends up in hell for the same reason. And the professor refuses to believe that he's actually in hell. And he's just basically, no, this is obviously a construct. This is I'm obviously in a coma, and so on. But it's just wickedly funny. Really, Old Harry's Game. Massively recommend Old Harry's Game.
I'll have to check that out. That sounds very good to me.
I'm smiling the whole time you're describing it. So.
Now, is the boss in your appraisal? Is it inspired or based on any real life boss of yours?
No. It was actually inspired by an actor who unfortunately won't be playing the part. He doesn't know. When I was writing it, it was that. So, but we're going to be using somebody because when I was planning to film in the UK, then down in London, then I was thinking, this is the person who I'd really like to play the part because this is who I have in my mind. And then, but
not because he's a horrible.
No, not in the slightest.
He's not. It's not based on his personality.
No, not at all. And the thing, and not in the slightest. And the fact is, again, it's a two-hander. You've got the torturer and the person being tortured, and what I'm hoping is that you'll have sympathy for both. You'll kind of understand. I think a lot of it, of course, is to be, it's a middle-aged man having to deal with a young man as well. Is that generation thing as well? There's that whole tension that comes when you've got an old boss and a young employee. So I think that's it. So no, definitely not inspired by any of my previous bosses.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Now, why film noir?
Why film noir? I love it. Basically, when I grew up, we're talking about the 1960s here. So what you had on TV, in this country, you had a couple of channels, and basically what they would show on Sunday afternoon were war films, or Hollywood, or films from the Hollywood 1940s, and every so often you get these film noirs come along, and it's always just been something I find absolutely fascinating. I always just love the style of it. I love the storytelling style of it, and they just look gorgeous. John Alton's. I can't remember the name of it. Of course, it's just entirely escaping me. It's not The Big Sleep. It'll come to me later. And it was done because these were B movies. These had to be shot quickly and cheaply. So you get a lot of shadows in the background because they couldn't actually afford to build the second, a particular wall. Now, obviously, they're still being filmed in studios. They're still being, they came from the big studios. But it's under the quota system that they had to make a certain number of films, et cetera, et cetera. So they had to make these things cheaply and quickly. You can some great writers working. John Alton, the cameraman, became known for this wonderful style. Particularly, he's held up as the epitome of the style. So, shot quickly, cheaply, and in long takes as well. So very much like stage, is that basically, you've got one camera, so you will have a character walk back, from the front of the set to the back of the set, and you'll have people. You see, the classic film noir shot to me is where you've got a person facing the camera shaving, and then you've got somebody walks into the room behind him, and because he's shaving, he's not going to turn around and face the person he's speaking to. So you've got a conversation where you've got two people talking, and basically you don't have to do reverse angles because you've got the entire conversation in one shot. You see both people's reactions. You see exactly what's going through them, and that's just genius as far as I'm concerned. And it's playing with light and so on, and it's just creepy. So yeah, that's very definitely why film noir.
Because sometimes limitations. I would say sometimes limitations really brings out your creativity.
Yeah.
With with the
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, Annabelle, sorry.
That was what I was going to say.
Yeah.
that it's just that it's a budget or whatever it is. It forces you to do things that you wouldn't have even thought of, like that whole genre. Who knows where it would have gone if those people didn't have to do it?
Yeah, and I think there are other cultural reasons as well. I think that's very definitely the style, the actual stories themselves. I mean, we're talking about this. It came to prominence after the Second World War, where you've got a lot of disillusioned young men coming back from the army, and they've seen war, and they've got a fairly bleak outlook on life. I mean, I love. I've got a couple, 2 or 3 books on film noir, and it talks about the fact, they're known for the doomed hero. Their heroes aren't the hero who goes out and saves the day. You're basically watching somebody succumb to temptation, which is why you get the blonde femme fatale in a lot of these movies, and the man being seduced, like in Double Indemnity. it really is a fascinating genre as far they can be incredibly bleak, but sometimes you get the hero comes good in the end, but they can be terribly, terribly bleak, really interesting and very sexual as well. I cannot remember the name of this movie, and it's going to drive me up the wall. I was reading up about it, and it's saying that there is a woman being seduced on screen, and it was terribly risque for the time. So I think, apart from the fact that the style itself, but the story, it always comes back. Everything always comes back to the story.
Are you going to act in any of either of these shorts?
No. Did you hear how definite I was about that?
Yeah, no, that's
fine. Really, no Hitchcock for me on this. No. Not unless one of the actors doesn't turn up. Basically, I thought when I wrote The Night Whispered, there was a part in it, and the part had a dog, and that was just kind of very natural, the way I saw the story in my head, that that you have a creepy man with a dog, out late at night walking his dog. It's kind of like, yeah, okay. And I thought, okay, it will also help sell some of the, garner interest if I'm both acting in it and writing and directing and acting. Funnily enough, whenever I talk about it, I always refer to myself as writer-director and don't mention the acting. I don't think I was that bad, but having had to watch yourself perform, it's bad enough when I'm watching friends perform on stage. I can never take my friends seriously when they're acting. I just have this. I can't do the disconnect. I can't suspend my disbelief. It's really hard because it's like when I'm watching Malcolm McDowell now, having met Malcolm McDowell a couple of times, it's just kind of like, oh, but you're really funny. Really interesting man, really fascinating man. So yeah, actually having watched so it's like, no, I don't have to do that again. It was bad enough having to edit the Kickstarter video, watching myself. I've become it's just kind of like, oh no, why? Oh god, there's that and there's this. I mean, most of the time whenever I watch myself on screen anyway, I just criticize my beard.
But it's a great beard.
I believe in our first interview, I used that as part of the intro. Was a man with a very well kept goatee.
It is, like goatee. You're absolutely right, and I have a special bone comb. And that is, if you're going to grow a beard, get a bone comb. Do not use plastic, because plastic
I will
pulls
keep that in mind.
It's true. It really makes a huge difference. It doesn't feel as if it's good. But yeah, so I just concentrate on the one stray hair that I missed whenever I watch myself on screen.
Everybody is busy watching you smile, because when I was watching your Kickstarter video, it's easy to just look at you and just be happy. You're just so happy and smiling and pleasant and positive, and that's what people are like, oh, he's so great.
Well, as Clive always used to say to me whenever I was complaining about something or other, I said, Nick, you shouldn't have joined if you couldn't take a joke. Well, yeah, you mean life, don't you, Clive? Yeah, it's like, yeah, you've got to, honestly, yeah. Thank you. That was fun to me. Yeah. That was a fun day. Funnily enough, Dawson, who I mentioned earlier on, came round. He's very good. He's really hard taskmaster as well. He's like, yeah, no, try it like this. No, try it as if you're just talking to me. I'm tired. I really want to go.
Well, you did. You look like you heard a really good joke.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think that is one of the things that whenever you're doing these things, is just kind of, oh, hello, Bertie. So, the dog's just walked in, phoned. He wants to know why.
He's tapping his paw.
Yeah. No, he's fine. Go and lie down, sweetie. Go on, sit down. There you are. Good boy. It's all right.
I
He's
can't
now sitting
remember
on.
what kind of dog you have. What kind of
I was
dog?
Got a
gonna ask you the
Staffy.
same thing.
He's a Staffy. He's what we refer to as a Staffordshire Bull Terrier. Is a Staffy. Is a Staffy. I believe in America you often refer to them as pit bulls, which is really confusing.
I think they're a little bit different.
Yeah, well, they are. I mean,
Remember Spuds McKenzie? I think that's what your dog is. Neil, you know what Spuds McKenzie is?
Yeah, that was big when I was a kid. Yeah,
I have no idea what we're talking about here.
he was a dog for Budweiser commercials, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah,
Well,
when I was like 10 or so, it was really popular.
right. I put a photograph of Bertie and Craig on my Facebook page today because I found this cartoon, a wonderful 4-panel cartoon the other day of where the dog is trying to get into the same narrow chair as his owner, and
I
you just
saw
see
that
them
today. Yeah, I saw
yeah,
that one
it's
today.
just like, she hasn't noticed. Or have a look. Bertie did exactly the same thing. And it is, most of the time Bertie will sit with me on the sofa, but if Craig's sitting there, he just does that thing of like trying to, it's like, this dog is 40 pounds. This dog weighs 40 pounds. He's a big, muscular dog. And he's, and you don't want him sitting on your lap because you lose all the circulation in your lower limbs.
But like many dogs, that dog probably wants to be on your lap all the time.
Yeah. As Craig was saying this evening, you're not a chihuahua, Bertie. You're not. I know you think you are. You think you're a teeny tiny little dog and you can just curl up on my lap, but honestly, you're not. But yeah, no, he's gone away now. He's probably gone to lie down.
So, can you also tell us about The Offer?
Yes, I can tell you about The Offer. We're filming next week. I'm really excited.
Oh, wow. That's great.
It really, really is. I mean,
That's fast.
It did.
With you in Rhode Island. Jeez.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and of course we did. So for those of you who don't know, the Offer is produced by Dead Mouse Productions, who I first met when they interviewed us for the Leviathan documentary. They then went on to do You're So Cool, Brewster, which is the documentary in which Simon Bamford plays Roddy McDowell playing Peter Vincent to link all the interviews together.
Which he does an amazing job.
Yeah,
For Fright Night.
Yes, yes. For Fright Night Roundabout. Yeah, absolutely. He does a wonderful job, and they're really, really cool guys. And then they said they just get an email saying, "Nick, do you want to be in a short film? Barb is in it, Simon's in it, you're in it." I'm thinking, Ken's in it, Ken Cranham. Really? Wow. And then there was going to be a British actor called John Castle, who was in RoboCop, I think, off the top of my head. He was going to be in it. Unfortunately, he had to drop out. But it's meant that Oliver Smith, who plays Skin Frank in Hellraiser. Now, I was chatting to Oliver earlier on today, and it just reminded me of talking about working, and he just said, darling, we're going to have some fun on this, aren't we? He said, because if we're not, then I'm going to probably have to call a meeting. And I thought, yeah. You go into these things expecting to have some fun. So we're filming an amazing location, confusingly in a place called Boston, but the real Boston, the original Boston, or near the original Boston, in the UK, not in America. And I'm there 4 days next week. I can't really say much more about it. Again, find the Facebook page, The Offer. But I had the great good fortune of meeting up with Ken Cranham the other day, because Ken was doing his scenes separately. But I decided I was just going to go along and say hi. So yeah, it's just going to be so good. I mean, obviously Simon and I worked together because I did some DVD extras on You're So Cool, Brewster with Simon. But it's going to be the first time that Barbie and I have worked together in 30 years.
Wow.
Same for Oliver and I. That's the first time that we've worked together for over 30 years. But basically, I'm assuming it's just going to be a bunch of mates having a good laugh. But they've also got some talented young people joining us as well. Met them at the read-through, and they're very, very good. So I think it's going to be fun. I think it's a fun script. I think people are going to appreciate it and enjoy it because there's lots of violence. So yeah,
and it's an awesome.
That sounds like one that has to have the behind the scenes. Because I can't imagine a bunch of you that have known each other. I know what you're like when you're at conventions, so I can only imagine.
It's difficult. Well, I mean, the classic story, which I'm sure I don't know if I've told it here. I've certainly told it before. I got told off. I got a message from the sound guy during the Hellraiser saying if I didn't stop laughing, he was going to personally come in and kill me. Because we were filming in a really, really small studio, and my laugh does tend to carry. So I think hopefully they got a green room. But to be honest, it's a really ensemble cast. I suspect we're all on set most of the time. It's going to be interesting. I just saw Ben Wheatley's Free Fire, which has just come out over here. I don't know when it's coming out in the States. Maybe around about the same time. That's a very, very different film, but in the similarity, it's more or less one set. And you've got all the bodies on all the time. So I suspect that they're going to need us there all the time, which is going to be interesting. Going to be very interesting.
Mm-hmm. And it's a great poster.
It's a wonderful poster. Yes, it's a great poster. I can't remember the artist's name off the top of my head, but he did a very, very, very good job. Really, I've got. Probably look it up. Yeah, no, it really is a great poster. I really should start learning lines. Come to think of it, because I'm filming next week.
yeah, that'd probably be good.
You're very busy, I'm sure. Yeah. So I know when we were at the convention, you were just out of your mind. You had so much going on.
Well, yeah, again, it was all to do with the Kickstarter, because I'm breathing a huge sigh of relief now because I've done this. I've done it. I know we're going to get the money, and we're going to get a goodly amount of money, which means that it's going to be. We could have done it before, and it would have been good. But I think now that we got this extra money, we can make it that much better. So yeah, and it's first it's this whole concept of the idea that basically you may not get. You may not get the money. That's the thing about Kickstarter. Mm-hmm. So that's the thing that you really want to. You have to be careful about. You've put in all this work, and I've so far. It's around about 160 hours that I worked on that. It's probably more than that. It's probably closer to 170 hours that I've worked on that. So the name of the artist that we were trying to remember is Juan Jose Saldarriaga. I'm just mangling this poor gentleman's surname. But
it is a really beautiful poster.
It is really, 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 really great poster. Yeah, very, very good poster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the only thing, I was glad that you were busy when we were in Rhode Island, but it was unfortunate you didn't get to dance with us that night.
Oh, that was great! We will have to dance in the future.
We will.
You've seen our moves. How can you resist?
Oh, have you not seen my dance video that I put up yesterday?
You did?
Uh-oh.
Oh, it's on my timeline. Yeah, no, because when we got to like 91, halfway within a few hours, I actually did my happy dance.
Yes, I did see that.
Yes. So yeah, I've got the move too. Yeah, we can have a dance off if you like.
Yes, I will remember this.
Yeah. I think having a dance off at the next convention sounds very, very good. Yeah, that sounds fun.
By the way, a young group of pigs is called the Drift. Older pigs, a Drift. Older pigs are called a sounder of swine.
A sounder of swine.
Yes.
I love group nouns. You have a pride of lions. It tells you everything you need to know about a lion is that you have a pride of lions. You have an unkindness of ravens. I love that fact. It really tells you everything you need to know about ravens. And then it reminds me, during the making of Hellraiser, one of the artists came up with a group noun for actors, which was a whinge of actors. Because long hours of makeup chair and so on. I just think, and of course, makeup. That's the other exciting news. I'm really, really looking forward to. I think I'm definitely can talk about this now because it's been up. IMATS, I can never quite remember, but basically the big makeup show. That's happening in London. They happen in Los Angeles and so on. I'm there as a guest. I'm going to be on a Q&A.
They have a face-off thing.
I think they do, but we're there to talk about Hellraiser because they got Jeff Portas, Bob Keane, myself. I can't remember who else is confirmed at the moment. Being interviewed by Paul Davis, the guy who did the documentary on American Werewolf in London. So we're doing a panel. So I get to meet all those guys again. Oh, John Cormacan, who designed Female Cenobite makeup, will be there as well. Jeff Portas, of course, who did Pinhead. So that's in May. Can't remember the date off the top of my head, but I'm getting really excited to meet up with guys again. That's going to be really so much good fun.
Mm-hmm.
Where can people find out about that?
IMATS. IMATS. It's an abbreviation, and if you just Google IMATS, all as one word in uppercase, you can find out. They do these conventions, and it is a convention for makeup artists. I can't wait to go there, not just for the panel, but just to go and see some of the amazing makeups, because they do demonstrations and so on. I think all the big names in makeup and special effects makeup particularly will be there. People like Christian Mallet and so on will be there as well. So yeah, just Google IMATS.
I will. I mentioned that you were coming on the show, and but a lot of people just basically wanted to say hello to you. I can't. Yeah, Claire Connolly, Derek Neal wants to say hello.
Oh, bless him. Hi, Derek. Hi, Claire.
Eric Fabiaschi.
Oh, Eric. Hi, Eric.
George Fraser wants to know how you maintain that youthful glow.
I moisturize. I moisturize. I have moisturized since I was a teenager.
Well, what do you use?
Nivea. Not the distilled fat of babies, as somebody once suggested. The Nivea for men. I stopped using. Sorry, this is the answer to a question you probably weren't expecting. So my advice, gentlemen, my facial care tips are: don't use aftershave on your face. They've probably worked that one out now, but those days where you used to have the Old Spice advert and showed the man splashing it on his face because you were a real man and it stung like hell. But that's a great way of getting razor burn. So. Aftershave balm, use something, you've just taken you use soap, wash your face, then you rinse the soap off your face, then you put more soap on your face, then you put your shaving cream on, because obviously I've got a goatee beard, I shave the rest of it, then that's when you put it on. I use King of Shaves, for those who are interested, the gel rather than the oil. And then after you've shaved, and always shave in the direction of the bristle, so up the chin, up the neck and down the side of your face, not in the opposite direction, and then get a comfortable, not a smooth shave, and then you just moisturize. And I've literally moisturized every day from when I was a teenager, because I did an awful lot of theatre when I was a kid. So, and in those days we had a lot of grease paint, literally grease paint. 5 and 9 was the classic combination for skin tones. Number 5 and number 9 makeup for skin tones, and so you always had to moisturize after you'd taken all that stuff off your face, and just got into the habit. And thank you. I'm glad you think my face is useful and glowing.
Very nice. Yeah.
That's quite
I appreciate. That would be a good segment on our show.
Beauty tips with
Yes.
Yeah, please ask Dee. Ask Dee Wallace what her favourite beauty tip is.
Oh my!
I've only met Dee a couple of times. I don't know if you necessarily remember me, but because you obviously meet an awful lot of people. But yes, what is your favourite beauty tip? I think that's a great question.
I like it.
I like it.
Yeah.
I feel like I've learned so much. I know what kind of comb to use for my beard.
Well, I have learned because I've got very dry skin at the moment, so I'll have to remember all these tips.
Are you using the coconut?
What was that?
Are you
a bone comb? I do not have a
coconut.
bone comb, but I need one. Yeah, I do. Yes, I do use coconut oil at the moment. Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's very good. The other tip is once you've shaved. Sorry, the thing I missed was because this is one of the reasons. And I kid you not, I once went to a barber to get a professional shave. Get the beard trimmed, etc., etc. And he said, okay, the service will be about 30 or 40 minutes. An hour and a quarter later, I walked out and he said,
wow,
that is the strongest beard I've ever met. So basically, it's like my beard is like fuse wire, basically. And he was saying, once you finish shaving, a lot of people, you naturally, because you've probably got warm water in the bowl in front of you, so you just rinse off everything. He said, don't put hot water on, put cold water on once you finish shaving to help close the pores up. They give the skin a chance to relax. Because basically, you're taking the top layer of skin off your face every time you shave. You're taking a thin layer, dead cells and so on coming off.
Have you ever thought of just growing out a big beard?
It took me a while to get to this one. There's not this guy. And let's be honest. The only reason is I grew it was to hide my double chin. It's true. Hey, it's a great tip, guys. You get to a certain age. You get to a certain age, and we all succumb to gravity. And people look at your beard. They look at your double chin. They look at your beard. Yeah.
Now I have to ask this question too. Michael St. Michaels of the Greasy Strangler. He wants to know: can you get him some work?
I discovered that's. Do you know what? That's really weird because I don't know. Michael messaged me on Facebook, and you have to understand, Michael. I'm kickstarting, and as it's pointed out, it says on my Kickstarter, we're doing this for the love, and nobody's getting paid. Covering expenses, accommodation, and I'm going to feed them. And I don't know, but you do a Kickstarter, and suddenly people are saying, "Oh, can you get me?" And I completely appreciate that because unless you get yourself out there, and you never know, the answer to your question is, I don't know. Maybe. Probably extremely unlikely. It's hard enough for me to get work for myself.
Yeah.
Now, how hard is it to
How hard is it to find people, even to work on these independent shorts? Is it difficult as an actor to go out and get that?
The trouble with being an actor, and it's always been true, is that in the law of supply and demand, actors are cheap because there's a huge, there are very few roles around, and there are an awful lot more actors than there are parts for paid work. So it's a tough business. Therefore, people are willing to, that they kind of do stuff as they're learning. And when you're working with it, in independent films, small independent films, a lot of the people that you'll work with are young, and they're just starting out. Not always the case. But because I'm working with some other actors who are more mature. Because at the end of the day, Annabelle, we just want to work, and we want to do good work. And we want to do exciting projects, and we want to do things that we would think are important. And therefore, we're like little puppies, and we just want to please. So I think finding good people to work with, I think this is one of the reasons I love about Celtic Badger Media, is they are a bunch of people who got together, discovered they really like working with each other, and worked out a way that they all kind of take turns. So one week the director of one short film may be the first assistant director on another, or doing the behind the scenes photography or acting in it. Celtic Badger Media was formed by four guys originally, and obviously they're the key players, but they've got this amazing bunch of guys and guys and guy-esses, lads and lasses, who enjoy working with them. And there is also the magic of movies as well. So you have to be careful. And I always counsel, as we were talking about the people who just are crooks, basically. You're going to come across those in any profession, so you have to be sensible and careful about those. But yeah, and finding very good. I was really, really lucky on the Night Whispered. It was a fascinating afternoon. I spent interviewing the two young women that I cast in the piece. I mean, I was able to know exactly who they were and what they wanted, and so on. And the other thing is, of course, you've probably heard it before, is the fact that if you didn't get the job, it's not necessarily it. Most of the time, it's not because you can't act. It's because you're 6 inches the wrong height, or you're 2 inches the wrong height, or you're dark, and the other person who you'd be pairing opposite is also dark skinned as well. Or complexion, and the director, he wants a fair-haired person and a dark-haired person. So it all comes down to all sorts of weird and wonderful reasons why people get cast, and legitimately so.
So I know people will probably know, listen to this, but where's the best places to find you online?
Oh, all over the place. Best places. Okay, on YouTube, Chattering with Nicholas Vince on the Sunday shows. You can find me there. On Facebook, you can find me. There's the one page that is Nicholas Vince. What Facebook refers to as a fan page. That's kind of the more professional stuff, though. I kind of keep it going. I basically share more or less the same stuff on both pages. And then there's Nicholas Berman Vince, which is where I mostly hang out. On Twitter, it's Nicholas_Vince, which I do tweet occasionally, but I've used the line before. I find Twitter 140 characters. It takes me 140 characters to draw breath. I find it very difficult.
Not a fan either.
Yeah, it's just, and people rave, and I completely understand it. So I'm on Twitter. Gone out feeling, you can go out and buy the books. I'm on Amazon. You can buy the books on Amazon. Please buy the books on Amazon. They're good books. One of them's got 5-star ratings for the last 3.5 years. It's been out.
Excellent.
Yeah, What Monsters Do. It's still 5 stars as far as I'm aware. That's more or less where you can find me online. And Kickstarter.
Oh, exactly. Yes. Exactly.
At the moment, yes, until the 19th of April. You have until the 19th of April to be part of the team for your appraisal and necessary evils. Join the 45 very enlightened and intelligent people who've already joined. Prove that you're an enlightened and an intelligent person by contributing to the Kickstarter. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Oh, this has been fun, as it is. Thank you very much. This has been good fun. This has been good.
Yeah. We need to have you back on more often.
Definitely. We need to work on napkin animation, too.
We do need to do that.
You recall that?
Absolutely, yes, of course. Yeah, I remember you telling me about this. Yeah, that's wonderful. I want to see that. I want to see that, guys. That should be fun.
Yeah. Well, I have to get working then out, and then we want you as a voice in an upcoming one.
Oh, I would love to be a voice. And speaking of voice, the other place you can find me online is iTunes, chattering with Nicholas Vince as well. The podcasts, because on the YouTube show becomes a podcast. It's going to be this last one that I just interviewed, L.C. Holt from You're Next, who's just finished his first feature film. That will be out late this week. I'm not going to have a chance to work on that one probably until about Thursday, Friday. That one's going out. That was a fun interview as well.
Awesome. Very cool.
Well, you have nice interviews because, well, real quick, is that when you do the chattering show, it's also a video show, so if they watch it live or if they get it through YouTube,
yes,
they can watch the people talking, yourself and whoever you're interviewing, which is really nice.
And also they can obviously pitching questions as well. We used to have. I used to be able to bring more people on online during the show, but it actually works better. I think it gives more people a chance to get involved. They can type in questions. Craig, my other half, much better half, monitors all the questions and feeds up for any questions that come up during the show as well. That's the thing. And then on the 6th, and actually give a quick talk about quick Kickstarter as well. I'm going to give you a very quick shout out to the show on the 16th of April, which is all about Kickstarters, and that is where anybody can come on. There's no guest particularly. We're just going to be talking about Kickstarters. So you can pitch your Kickstarter. You can talk about your experiences of Kickstarter. You can just saying what you like, what you dislike, what it's Easter Sunday, so I have a
wow, that's coming up pretty fast.
It is coming up pretty fast. That's a week on Sunday. My life is so much fun. I love my life. My life is really interesting.
You have a lot going on.
I do. Exciting. It is. Thank you. Well, that's to you guys as well. Stuff's happening. I know. And these things come in waves, and I'm just riding the crest of this particular wave and loving it. Learning so much and also getting tremendous support from people as well. And obviously I mean the guys who've signed up to Kickstarter, but all the people like Brian Moore, James Moran, Kat Davis, who came onto my show and very generously just said, because they were doing their Kickstarters, and basically I picked their brains online. So I'm getting huge amounts of support. Chris Regan, who came onto the show as well, was hugely supportive in giving feedback. Sarah Daly, lots of people.
Very cool.
Show is on Sundays, Eastern Time.
Evening time, 7 o'clock London time, 11 a.m. Los Angeles, and 2 p.m. New York.
Yeah.
Excellent. And next time we're together, we have to get. I can't believe we didn't even get a picture. We have to get a picture and a video together or something.
We're just rubbish. I'm just rubbish. This is why you need Barbie. This is why
it went fast because it was just a Saturday and a Sunday, so it skipped right by.
Yeah. No, I know. But this is why who completely a self-complained shutterbug. As she said, way before there were things like camera phones and so on. She has always taken amazing, really, really good photographs since she was a teenager. So yeah, it does mean that you always know that you're not going to miss a photograph when you're with Barbie. It's wonderful.
Always look your best when you're with Barbie.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And she'll explain to you exactly where you need to look and at what angle to make sure you look absolutely right. Best. Always get a selfie done with Barbie. Barbie is really, really good at that kind of thing.
Yeah, we got a picture. Was in the Cthulhu Lovecraft store, And I've got, for some reason, I've got like my arm around the shop owner who I
With the
never met
clerk.
before, but yeah, but it looks like we're good
Yeah.
pals. But it's a very funny video to me. Or picture to me. Yeah.
Yeah. It is. I've seen that picture. It's fun. It's very fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's been excellent as always.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much indeed.
Absolutely.
It's now nearly. It's 1:45 in the morning. I suppose I should go.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Thank you so much for staying up. But it really was very fun.
Yeah.
We appreciate you being here.
That's
Yeah.
my pleasure. This is me forming back to my theatre performing routine. That's fine. You'd be up until this time in the morning anyway if I was working in theatre. So yeah, part of my body recognises this clock. Yeah, I should go. Darlings, it's been wonderful. I've really enjoyed this.
Excellent. I did too. It was a lot of fun.
So happy for you. Congratulations on your Kickstarter doing so
Thank
well.
you very much.
Yeah, that was great.
People, the more is better. Because you
Yeah.
could really ask for a very modest amount, I thought. So more, even more.
Yeah.
Make it bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. And I sure feel an awful lot more comfortable. If we can support the guys more, that we're actually, we can treat them better. Then I shall be very, very much more. And as I say, it's going to be festival submission fees. That's what it's going to go into. Anything else? So it's more chances for people to see it and for it to gain a wider audience. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
But I think that's important for people to know, so they don't think just because it got the the amount you want, it doesn't mean that you can't do more with it and either make it better or get it be seen by more people.
It is absolutely, and also because people I think sometimes don't realise that it's obviously there's Kickstarter fees, there's credit card fees as well, but also that amount that you see, for example, that includes shipping as well. So for example, the major prize, the major reward that was taken, the Pinhead model. Okay, so there was the amount that I was asking for that, plus the shipping. Well, that all counts to what that is. So I'm not going to see that money. So when people look at Kickstarter, so that really was the absolute minimum that I knew I could make a movie. Now we can make two really, really great movies. One of which will go on the festival circuit, your Appraisal. The other one, which is going to go straight into the Laurie Group Brewster, the Hex Media, for We Are Many project. So it's good to know that one of the films has automatically got a home, and will hopefully be seen as part of that larger project.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna let you go to sleep.
You think I'm awake? Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you very much indeed. And I will hopefully speak to you soon.
Yeah,
That would be great.
Good.
Good. Yeah.
All right. Good night.
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 Sleep tight. Don't let the bugsies bite.
That's what we always say here too. We don't say bugsies, though. We say bed bugs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we always say when we were kids.
Well, don't let them bite.
No, don't let it. Yeah, don't let anything bite.
No, absolutely. All right then, folks. I will see you soon.
Exactly.
All right.
Take care. Bye.
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 This is Robin Hardy, author of the screenplay and will direct and produce The Wrath of the Gods, the third film in the Wicker Man trilogy. And you're listening to Without Your Head.